tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet the mini plaid or checker stitch. Absolutely gorgeous stitch which looks quite complicated but is really quite easy. It's a 2-row repeated pattern, but it's only really the starts and the ends of the rows that are different, meaning that when you turn it over it's pretty much the same on the back as it is on the front, making it ideal for making scarves or blankets or anything where you're going to see both sides of your work. So let's have a look at the tutorial. For this tutorial I'm using 3 different coloured yarns. I have a sort of pinky colour, a grey and a green. These are all double knit DK yarns. You can use any size yarn that you would like with the corresponding crochet hook. I'm using a 4.5mm with my DK weight yarn. I have scissors to cut off my end, a yarn needle to sew in my ends and a stitch marker just in case I need one. So this pattern is worked in rows, so we're going to make a foundation chain. Our foundation chain needs to be made in multiples of 6. So we're going to start off by making a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And we yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook, that's 1, yarn over, pull through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So make your foundation chain as long as you would like your piece to be wide, and I shall see you in a moment. Remember, you're making them in multiples of 6. So I've made my foundation chain. For this sample piece I'm just going to use 30 chains. You can obviously make yours wider if that's what you would like yours to be. So for row 1 then we're going to start off by making a treble. That's UK terms. In US terms that would be a double crochet in the 5th chain from the hook, so we don't count the 1 on the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going in there with the treble, so we yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and that chain there counts as a treble. So we have 1 treble, 2 trebles, and we're going to make a 3rd treble in the next chain. Then go to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And that 3 chain is going to carry us over the next 3 chains that we're going to skip from our foundation chain. So 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch we're going to do a treble and a treble in the next chain and a treble in the next chain. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3, crochet 3 trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Do that one again. So continue working this way down the row, so chain 3, skip 3, 3 trebles, and I shall see you just before the end of the row. So pause the video now whilst you complete row 1. So I'm just coming up to the end of row 1 and I'm going to do my last 3 trebles. And I'm going to change colour on the last treble, so I'm going to get my new colour ready. So I'm going to start my treble as normal, so I yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, drop the grey yarn, pick up the pink yarn and pull through the 2 loops on your hook, and that should just close up that stitch and you've got your new colour ready for your new row. So for row 2 then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that chain 4 counts as a chain plus a treble. We're going to skip the 3 trebles from the previous row. So that 3 chain is going to, the 1 chain gives us height and the 3 chain carries us over the trebles. And we're now going to work 3 trebles into the foundation chain. So over this chain space here and into the 3 skipped chains from the foundation row. So yarn over, insert into the first chain, come at the back, yarn over and pull through. Pull up that loop, remembering you don't want to keep it too tight, and complete your treble. Then we're going to go into the second chain, which is here. So into the chain, through the back, pull up your loop and complete your treble, and then into the third skipped chain. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That 3 chain is going to carry us across the trebles from the previous row, and we're going to repeat the 3 trebles into the foundation chain, making sure we pull up the loop so that our stitches don't get pulled too much. And into the last one. So we chain 3, skip over the trebles from the previous row, and then work into the chains from the foundation chain. So continue that way all the way down the row until you get to just before the end, and I shall show you what to do at the end of the row. So pause the video now. So just with my last 3 trebles, I need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and my last stitch is going to be a slip stitch. So I'm just going to drop my pink yarn, pick up the green, and I'm going to insert into the top of that 3 chain, make sure my yarn is over, bring it through the grey and through the pink one, and then we can just tighten up our stitch. So we're finishing on a slip stitch. Row 3 then, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. That 3 chain counts as a treble, so if we imagine these 3 trebles here, that one already counts, so we're going to work into the tops of these trebles here over the chains. So that's 1, and 2. Chain 3, skip over the 3 trebles here, and then work into the top of the 3 grey trebles in that chain space, making sure you go through both parts of the stitch, and that just closes up that gap nicely and gives you that nice little checkered effect. Chain 3, skip the trebles and work into the trebles from 2 rows below. So continue that way all the way down the row. So chain 3, skip over the trebles from the previous row, and then work 3 trebles into the stitches from 2 rows below over that chain. I will see you at the end of the row to show you what to do at the end. So pause the video now. So at the end of the row then we have 2 trebles and a turning chain. So we're going to work into, I've chained 3, skipping over these stitches here, going to work my 3 trebles, 2 of them into trebles from the previous row, and then the last one into the turning chain. And we're going to change back colour here, so I'm going to drop the green, pick up the grey, which is my first colour, bring it up the side, don't put it too tight, otherwise your work will bunch together, and we're ready to go for row 4. Row 4 is a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That chain 4, as before, counts as a chain 1 to give us height, chain 3 to travel over these stitches here, and we start working straight into the trebles from the previous row. So the rows are very similar, it's just how we start. Sometimes you've got a chain, sometimes you've got a treble. So 1, 2 and 3, chain 3. Let's get some yarn, treble 1, treble 2 and treble 3, chain 3, and work your way all the way down your row till you get to just before the end, and I shall show you what to do at the end, but this is very similar to the previous rows that we have done. So pause the video now whilst you get to the end of the row, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've done my last 3 trebles, going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this is the row that we're going to go into the turning chain with a slip stitch. So I'm going to drop my grey, pick up my pink, insert into the top of the 3 chain, yarn over and pull through, and pull through the grey one on your hook, and you're ready to go back to row 3. So row 3 is a chain 3, and this is where we have the chains. So as I said before, your row either starts with trebles or it starts with chains. If it starts with chains, you chain 3 and then do 2 trebles. If it starts with trebles, you chain 4 and carry your work over the trebles until you get to the chain space, and then you do your trebles into 2 rows below. So for this one then we're working in the 2 rows below straight away, so that counts. So we're working into these 2 trebles over that chain. That's 1 and 2, then we chain 3, or we try to, travel over the grey, and then we get to the chain space. So you repeat rows 3 and 4 until you get to the length of the work you like, and I shall see you in a moment. So I've made up a few more rows, and I've decided I want to do my final row. If you don't put a finishing row in, you will end up with these 3 chain spaces, which could get caught if it was on a blanket or something. I've decided to finish on the same colour as I started with. So it doesn't really matter which row you finish on. I happen to have finished on a row 3, therefore I would have done 4 chains, which would carry me across the trebles, and I would start working into the pink row. So what I'm going to do is chain 2 and turn my work. That chain 2 is going to count as a half treble. Then I'm going to put a half treble into the next 2 stitches, so into the 2 trebles from the previous row. Then I'm going to go into the trebles as normal with a treble. Remember, I'm talking UK terms here. When I say treble, that's a double in US. When I say half treble, that's a half double in US. And then you just get a nice finish to your row. Now if you've got a chain space here, just start off by chaining 3 and then doing your 2 trebles into the 2 rows below. So I'm going to half treble into the next 3 stitches. And then I'm going to do my trebles into the pink row. No, trebles, not half trebles, Karen, come on. Start it again. That's 1 treble, 2 trebles, and 3 trebles. Then into the next 3 trebles we're going to do half trebles, and then into that chain space we're going to do our 3 trebles. There's 1 and 2 and 3. Three half trebles, and what I like about this pattern is everything is in 3s. And sometimes you get patterns where you do 2 of these, 4 of those, and then 3 of them, 5 of something else, and it's very confusing. This is actually quite mindful because you know it's 3 trebles, 3 half trebles, 3 chains, skip 3. Okay, and we're going to do my last 3 half trebles in the last 2 stitches and into the turning chain. And then we can finish off. But that just gives you a nice neat edge. Obviously you can block your work to try and make that even neater if you want to. But what an absolutely gorgeous stitch. I think it would work up well in lots of colours. You could go with sort of traditional sort of red, grey and black. That would look quite nice if you wanted to make a scarf for a gentleman. Pretty similar on the back to the front because other than the starting bit, the rows are pretty much the same all the way through. And for a stitch that looks really complicated, it's actually quite simple. I'm really quite pleased with that, and because we've carried our work up the side, we don't have to worry about lots of ends to stitch in, although we will need to put a border on, at least on the side panels, just to make sure that these are hidden away. It's a really beautiful stitch. I really hope you try this one. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial today, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help YouTube do its magic and show it to all the other crocheters in the world. If you've enjoyed seeing my stitch marker today, this is my little kawaii cloud. It's available in my Etsy shop and on my website shop. I'll pop a link in the description below to both of those, depending how you prefer to buy your items. I'm going to pop 2 more videos on the side of the screen over here to help you on your crochet journey, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!